Welcome back to another weekly Forexcast. As always, I'm going to be covering some potential setups that we have for a week, as well as doing a review. Um, if you're new to this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. And I also want to show you all, an inside of our private Discord for those that have been asking or wondering how it looks and what we're doing, so you can get an idea of how things work in there. All right. So this is our Discord. I have the trade idea channel where I send out all analysis. All right. I send out markups. I send out projections. I keep you guys up to date with what's going on. You see right here, this past trading week, we caught 329 pips on the alerts that was given. Now, I don't just get this isn't just a pure signal group. All right. I actually give education. I do live sessions so people can understand why we're entering certain trades. I'm not just giving a signal without them understanding why that trade is actually being taken. All right. So we rode the JPY strength. All right, CAD JPY sell 114 pips, UJ, and we caught the GJ sell. All right. So we also have, of course, we have a chat where everybody can engage. We have a bunch of traders in here. Everybody talk, share ideas and different things like that. And the testimonials, we've been having so many testimonials. I love to see everybody winning. We see Judy right here, $788 profit, right, on her almost basically $2,500 account. That's a nice gain. All right. She said she's up over 30% with some pips still floating in profit. That's beautiful. We got my man right here. He said, Mr. Bagwheel, 2,400 right here, 2,400, 2,462, almost a $2,500 day. All right. We got Harlem right here. She had $108 day. Another lady here, $425 day, and just keeps going. Angela, one of my top students, is a $1,200 day, right? Following the cause. Dana, he said the CJTP hit. He caught 284 pip, $284 day. All right. Lady D said she had her best week ever. All right. $338 week. All right. So we have people breaking milestones and getting some results. All right. Anna, she said she made 10%. She withdrew her 10%. All right. So people are winning here. It's a beautiful thing. We also had Eduardo here that had a $2,500 day. All right. So people are winning. Be sure to check us out at the fxwave.com if you're looking for a community, if you're looking for that hands-on approach. All right. And a place where you can earn while you learn. Now, to the analysis, let's start with the dollar index. So we see here with the dollar index, we're still bullish on the dollar index. We see the weekly is still looking like it's closing bullish. All right. If we break this down, top down, we can see when price broke above structure right here, we had a break above structure, retest, and price just continuing, to give us an upward move towards this supply level to the left. All right. So I'm still bullish on the dollar. All right. And we basically just been riding the wave on a lot of these pairs. So I still expect this to push into this, into the supply level. And once we get up here, it's a breaker bounce scenario. All right. It's either we'll get a nice rejection from there. All right. Either that, or we could see price break above there. If that happens, then maybe retest and continue. All right. So we'll see how price develop once it gets there. But we still could potentially have some type of pullback before that happens. All right. So UJ was one of our setups this past trading week. For me, it was pretty obvious. It was obvious what was about to happen. It was obvious that we was going to get a continued rejection because if we look to the left, price is giving us a nice rejection from that same big supply level to the left. Right here, we had a nice pin rejection, and then we got this big bearish engulfing. All right, looking like an evening star as well on the weekly. So after seeing that, I'm going down to the smaller time frames. I'm looking for my potential structure levels of retest for entry. All right, price broke down here, gave us an impulsive breakout, breaking structure, breaking our daily trend line, and I was looking for pullback entries into this level. So we had a sell limit at 110.4. All right, price pulled up a little higher before it continued and gave us that continuation down. All right, forming this bearish engulfing on the daily, and then we continue to sell off. So right here, I'm still bearish. All right, so I would say watch UJ on these pullbacks, because until price shows anything different, I believe this could be just a pullback. You see right here, we got this bearish flag breakout. So I would say here, this could possibly pull up a little higher, but still give us a lower high or rejection here. I would still look for potential continuation moves to the downside on this pullback. All right, looking for price to come back down to this low that it made and possibly lower. All right, so if price continues down and not just reach that low, but let's say if price actually breaks this low. So if price comes down, continues down and breaks this low, then you can expect continuation moves to the downside, maybe a retest, but look to ride this for further move down. All right, so that's my outlook on UJ. GJ, so GJ, you can see, we had entries up here. And this, I'm still expecting this to continue down. GJ was one of the signals that was given out. 145 pips moved in our favor, and it's looking like we're going to continue down. All right. If I look at this on the daily, I'll see our price moved on the daily. We had a nice look at this daily structure. Right, nice impulsive break of structure here, pullback forming a lower high, continued move down, forming a lower high there, and continued down right there. Boom, gave us a lower low. We got a lower low there in structure. All right, so really seeing this, I was expecting some type of correction before continuation. So we got a nice correction to a structure level that makes sense. All right, so if you look to the left, this is why I say always. This is why I always say look to the left to go right. We see here to the left, price came and retested this same level of structure here where you had supply at before continuing down. All right. So all we did, we came here. All right. After seeing this bullish engulfing on the daily, I was expecting us to possibly get a deeper pullback, all right, before continuing, but we didn't get that. We started rejecting at this level of structure. All right. After seeing that, I was looking for my potential sells. Right. So we look on the 4-hour, price gave us a nice evening star bearish engulfing rejection right here, right? Then pulled back right here, forming a right shoulder. So after seeing that daily close, which was basically a bearish engulfing, right here on the daily, price closed as a bearish engulfing rejecting structure. For me, I was leaning towards even sales after seeing that, all right? And also seeing that this was potential head and shoulders forming, I was looking for sales in here, all right? All right, you either could have looked for sales in there or you could have waited for the break of that structure, but the break of the structure just gave, even more confirmation that you're going down lower. And on that break of the structure, it gave you another opportunity on the retest. Continue, right? Pull back one more time, but then now you see now we're continuing down. So I'm still bearish on this. All right, price, looking at how the daily close, it's going to close a nice bearish shooting star candle right here on the daily. All right, so for me, I still think we could at least still come back down to this low, possibly lower. All right. So for this, I would say if you're not in this trade, if you are in this trade, if you got in around where I gave it, adjust the stops, to break even or, probably above this structure here. But if you're not in this trade, I would say, look, wait for some type of pullback. Price could possibly give you a pullback on a smaller time frame. If it gives you that corrective pullback, then you could look for your potential continuation move to the downside. All right. I would look to take it back down to that low. Now, if price breaks through that low, we can go lower, just trade in line with structure. If it breaks through here, then you can expect, price to come even lower down, to 150 or lower. All right. So that's GJ. CAD JPY, this also was a signal that was given out, and it did something similar to basically, if you look at the correlation, all JPY pairs were trading in line for the most part. All right. You could see that JPY strength was in, and they all were basically just setting up for continuation moves. So we look right here on CAD JPY, I sent this out. All right. So similar to GJ, we had a nice impulsive breakdown right here, and we've really been riding this wave. It's not the last few weeks we've been catching these sales just riding the wave. Impulsive breakdown, pullback forming his lower high. Price broke down, pretty much gave a double top right here on the lower high and reject. That was our impulsive continuation down, forming lower low, breaking the previous low to the left. So after seeing a structure break, what do? We look for that potential retest, which is around here, and we got that continuation down. So if we look at this, right, you see here at the structure level, price giving us bearish rejection, right? If we go down to the 4-hour, just understanding our price is developing, potential head and shoulders formed right here as well. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. All right. So we were catching sales somewhere in here around this pullback, and then boom, price gave us that continuation down. Didn't give much of a pullback. A lot of volume basically just came in. All right. This gave a slight retest of the neckline, because another way to trade head and shoulders is you look for a break and then a retest of that. It actually gave us that. You had a breakdown, break of that structure, that neckline, retest here. That was also an opportunity, and boom, just got continuation moves down. All right. So now coming into this trading week, I'm still bearish on this. I am still bearish, but price could possibly, if you look at even the weekly, everything is bearish. The weekly, the monthly end, same thing. Big rejections from the supply zone, supply and demand. So we see everything is still looking bearish. All right. So for this, I would say either look for a continued breaker structure, then maybe get your retest or pullback, continue to write this down to the demand to the left. All right. Or with this, you could look for price to give you some type of correction, pullback of structure before you get a continuation move down. All right. So that's CAD JPY. GU. So GU, it's still looking bearish. All right. We look at the weekly. The weekly is closing bearish. All right. If we look at the structure of this, price had a big rejection. If you've been following us, we have been riding this wave as well. This was the pullback or the retest of structure. This was the continuation. So right here, it looks like price was just pulling back for continued move down. So I will watch this level. I will watch this level here because to me, it's looking like I was still expecting long term after this retest for price to continue down to 1.37 support or around 1.367 or 1.368 around this support level or demand level here. So it's looking like we could head there. All right. Looking at the weekly, looking at the daily, I believe that's what we probably are going to get. So with this now, with this still being bearish overall, I would look for something like this. All right, you could take a trend line. We'll look for something like this. I would need to see a pullback. So a price gives me a pullback, maybe a retest somewhere in here, a nice pullback of structure, and look for the potential continuation to the downside. All right, that's something I would look for. We are approaching these levels of support. But if you look at the potential retest of structure levels, looking to the left, this is major demand or support right here. All right. So a pullback into that possibly will be a possible potential structure level that I would look for potential continuation sales to the downside. Now, if price just decides that, we're going to just reject here and just boom, break above, then if it does one of those, then it's probably going to, pull back and continue up. So I would say watch around that structure level there, around 1.383. But I'm still bearish on GU so far. All right, so looking at GN, GBPNZD. All right, if we look at this on the daily, price came to this level, same level that it had a supply rejection before, and topped off there again. All right, we had a big evening star right here on the daily form. All right, which is a nice sign of sellers. That was a double top, and you see right here, price is still breaking down to the downside. All right, price is still breaking down to the downside. So you see right here, we got this bearish engulfing candle on the daily. All right, we got a nice bearish engulfing candle. And then from there, for me, that's still showing me that it's signs of bears to the downside. All right, so with that, I would still expect a potential breakdown. All right, we look at the weekly. If you look at the weekly, price is printing bearish shooting star type rejection on a weekly. All right, and if you look at this big candle right here was a bearish engulfing. So it's looking like this was just a pullback after that bearish engulfing before we get a potential continuation move down. So I will go down to the smaller time frames here, and this is what I would look for on GN. It's either I would need to see like a price give some type of like pullback, corrective pullback in here. That could be a potential, continuation opportunity down, right? Either that, or I would need to see a breaker structure, something like this. If you look, always look to the left to go right. All right, so if we see right here, if price actually comes down, all right, if price actually comes down and breaks this structure here, then I would look for some type of pullback or a retest of that and look at continue it down. All right, around 1.95 is another level of structure. All right, but if we continue to break through there, then you can expect price to come down even further. All right, so that's GN. I would look for sales. Real USD. Same thing with EU, similar to GU. You know, we've been riding this bearish wave for a minute now, and looking at what price is doing. You know, we had a break of structure here, we had a retest, we had that continuation down, right? Price pulled back, continued down here. So for me, this is a break or bounce scenario. All right. We could possibly get some type of correction, but I mean, right here, I see slight bullish divergence right here. All right. I see slight bullish divergence, but you know, with EU, if I was looking to buy this, you know, I would need to see some type of firm hold of support here. All right, before looking for potential moves up. All right, but I'm still, from a long-term perspective, I'm still expecting this to roll over, you know, back into this demand level. All right. So if price does come down and actually break structure, say it comes down and form a lower low right here. All right. I would say look for a pullback or a retest and look for that continuation down. All right. So that's EU. I'm neutral on EU right now. Like I'm still expecting, you know, price to reach down here, but right now, you know, I would need to see more to whether I'll look for a buy or sell. But I do believe there are better opportunities out there right now. All right, so looking at gold. So just looking at from the daily perspective, this daily candle was closing bearish engulfing. All right, or evening star. This is an evening star right here on the daily. All right, that's typically a sign of sellers taking control. All right. But gold is at an interesting point because it did come back around this structure level here. All right. But it slightly broke above. And now you see we're closing back below. All right. So it's interesting to see how gold is going to react here. So for me, like if I was looking for a sell on gold, I would need to see price continue to break down below structure here. All right. So we got the evening star on the daily. So I would need to see a breakdown. All right. Continue breakdown here. And then look for, you know, those pullback opportunities for continuations to the downside. Either that, hold on one second. Either that, or I would need to see some type of pullback because we see on the daily, we got the evening star. So for me, that's usually a sign of sellers. So if price was to pull back, you know, that could be an opportunity there too before price rolls over. All right. So, but to be safe, I would need to see more of a breakdown. All right. It's either pullback, look for sales there, or if price continues to break down, then look for those pullback opportunities before you continue to ride it to the downside. Where the price just holds here, right? Holds here on a higher low and continue to rise up, forming a higher high, then we could see that potentially go higher. All right, so let's see. Looking at USD Cad. So with USD Cad, it's been bullish. You know, my bias has been bullish to the upside from this demand level. So you see price has been just riding up. And we reached exactly where I was anticipating for it to reach. All right, at this level of structure, 1.26. All right. So now understanding that this is a breaker bounce, a breaker bounce type area. All right. There's either price, we're going to show bearish rejection, and you could get a potential sell opportunity there. All right. A sell opportunity, or a price breaks above structure, you could get a pullback, retest, and look for continuation up. All right. So here I would say, you know, if you get a nice bearish indication, you know, then I would say look for potential sales, like maybe pin bar rejections, bearish engulfings, and things like that. You know, then I would say look for, you know, that potential sell up. So just watch for price action to show his hand, and then we react. All right, so all USD also is played out to a T. If you've been following, you can watch my last weekly outlooks. You know, you can see your weekly Forexcast. You can see I was expecting price to come down to 0.74. We reached that. All right, so now we're at a major breaker bounce area because this is a major level of structure. All right, looking to the left, this is a major supply level in the past. All right, so it can be played as supply or demand right here. All right, you see it was major demand right here in the past. So right here, this is going to be a breaker bounce. It's either price is going to continue to break down or it's going to form bullish price action. So if price was to continue to break down below the structure, I would look for pullbacks or retests before I catch those continued sales. All right, but if it gives me like strong bullish indication around this level, like maybe some type of bullish impulse away from this level, I would look for pullbacks or retest before I continue that up. All right, so with this, with AU, I would just sit on my hands. Like sit on my hands, see how price is going to react around this level before you look for any potential setup. Because looking at the weekly, I mean, it's been trending to the downside from, the weekly and daily from that major supply level. So this is a key level of structure to pay attention to. All right, so I'm actually covering, I'm covering multiple pairs because some of my students have pair requests that they want me to look over too. So I'm covering over so many pairs. All right, so Euro JPY, we can see that. Let's see here. So we can see Euro JPY has been rejected from the supply level too. This is also another pair that we've been just riding the wave to the downside, that JPY strength. We didn't catch a sell this past week, but it was just playing out in line with the other JPY pairs. So if we look where price is currently at, because price, had a big breakdown, pullback retest, continuation down here. All right, but now we're at this level of demand. So price did bounce from that level of demand first, pulled back, retested, and just continued back into demand. So this is a big breaker bounce area. All right, so if price forms some bullish price action here again, I would say you could look for potential buys up. Long term is still looking like price probably will break this level. All right, but you just got to play it. It all depends on how you trade. Because right here, like I wouldn't be surprised, price did reject from here, reject from this demand again. All right, now price is pulling back. So this could be a pullback to just give you, another corrective wave up. That's a possibility. So I would either say look for potential continued wave up. If price holds there, holds above this low here, if it holds above that low in the pullback, you can look for corrective buy up. All right. But if price breaks this structure, then look for a pullback, maybe a retest of that, and a continuation down. All right, that's EJ. Now, all JPY, just a couple more, and I'm gonna wrap it up. So, all JPY, same thing. Like it did the exact same thing as CAD JPY, GBP JPY, UJ. Like they've all been just flowing to the downside from these major levels of structure. If you look to the left, same thing with AJ on his weekly. You see it rejected from this major level of structure, right? And price just continued to wave to the downside. So I sent this out in the Discord as well. You can see similar thing, big breakdown, pullback, retest of structure, correction, continuation down, one more pull up, continue down. So on that continuation down, we broke structure here, which is a demand structure, and formed a lower low here. So with that, you look for a pullback or a retest of structure. That's what it gave us here. Retest, continuation down. All right, and this did the exact same thing. Like if we look at it, so first we see we got this bearish indecision, bearish rejection from this level, started showing signs of continuation. We go down to like the 4 hour, the smaller time frame. Same thing that same thing that CAD JPY and GJ did. It formed a head and shoulders right here on the retest. So when you get a retest of structure, you're looking for certain market structure patterns. You're looking for certain candlestick patterns to form to give you that confirmation that that retest is going to hold. So when I saw that daily price action like that, similar to GJ, and now we see a head and shoulders forming, with experience, you could have caught it before it broke this head and shoulders, or you could have just waited for it to break this head and shoulders and look for a retest. And it gave you exactly that. This was the break of the head and shoulders. This was your retest. This is your entry here. All right. Could have entered there on this retest, price rejected, stop loss above. All right, structure, and just wrote this down. So on that retest, it dropped 60 plus pips. All right, so that was textbook right there. So now, I mean, I'm still bearish on this. Same thing with all the other ones, but it's just a matter of if price is going to continue to just break this low and continue, and then maybe pull back or retest it then, or I would either say look for that, or look for price to give you, another pullback opportunity, before you get that continuation down. All right, but I'm still bearish. I still would say look to ride the bearish wave on all JPY. All right. All right. So CAD CHF was another request. This did the exact same thing as all CAD pairs. Oil, like everything was lining up. So this was just a textbook opportunity as well. Like if you look at this, if we look at this on the weekly, I mean, price came up here. It slightly went above this structure. All right, but it pushed somewhat into the supply level to the left, formed a big bearish engulfing right here, rejected, pulled back, rejected again, and then started to roll over. All right, so when you look at this, when price gave a breakdown here, all right, before it actually pulled back, after seeing this, I was expecting this to come back, pull back, and retest and continue, and that's what it did here. So you look to the smaller time frames, and you can see price came back and it retested this structure right here, right? That was your retest. You know, you could have been looking on the 1 hour right here. When you start to see that rejection, you know, you start to look for your sales and write that down, right? So with that, that was just a perfect retest and continuation. I'm still bearish on this as well, like, but I would say either look for a pullback opportunity and continuation, all right, or look for price to just break structure, pull back, and give you those opportunities there. But we not far from the level of structure I was looking for targets to hit. All right. So with that, I would say you look for a pullback or see a price want to continue to break structure before you look for your opportunity. All right. And lastly, oil. So oil, you see on oil, we had a big rejection from here, right? After seeing that big rejection, I mean, look at the weekly, we at a level of supply, a major level of supply, right? So we got a big rejection from this level. And this weekly is closing bearish engulfing, evening star. So I'm expecting bigger moves to the downside on oil. All right. So understanding that we got this big impulse breakdown on this pullback, you're expecting this pullback to just be a continuation down. And that's what we got. All right. So with here, I would say either you're going to get a pullback before price continue, or price or I would say just look for this continue to break a structure. When price breaks structure, then look for a pullback or a retest and continuation down. All right, so that's oil. Those are the pairs I'm going to cover, and I hope that helps. And again, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Check in with us at the fxwave.com if you're looking for an affordable way to actually be tapped into in the community and to get profitable opportunities while you're learning. All right, and with that, I'll see you all on the next one.